All right. I am about to make my first road trip with this Ford F-150, and this is why I got this truck. You know, I have my trailer behind me. I'm going to go pick up another project, and it'll be kind of fun. It's another Kubota. This is the GR2110. And previously, on some past videos a few years ago, I had the GR2100, and I rebuilt the transaxle on it. And well, this one's the 2110, so I'm hoping they had fixed some of the problems with it. And I know this one actually has a problem with the drive shaft. Hopefully I'll be able to repair it, or I'll be able to replace it for sure, but we'll see. The reason I'm having to get the other one, another one, is oh, there's my map. Well, over those couple of years when I was having my back surgery and I wasn't able to go do anything, somebody stole all my stuff out at the other property. They stole that tractor, the Kubota tractor. They stole all my solar panels, a lot of still weed eaters, and just all kinds of stuff. I just couldn't believe it. This is a small town, you know, around Shelbyville area, and I remember growing up, it used to be you know, a place where you can leave your doors open and, you know, everybody knew everybody, but not anymore. You know, people steal stuff. I've had one of my cousins, somebody broke into their, they had a deer lease, and somebody broke into their little cabin and stole all their guns. So it's not a nice little town anymore. But anyway, I am headed out. I'm going to go pick up this this new to me Kubota, and hopefully bring it back and do the repairs, and I'll be able to get the work done that I need out in this other property. But all right, well, I'm going to get started. right, that was a nice little road trip, and well, here she blows. This one, you can see I already have the rear end up on jacks, but rolled it in here. It's kind of a pain because there's no pressure up here on the steering, so you can see it's not doing anything on the front. I'll have to check that out. The biggest thing, well, first thing, there's the notorious hood just cracking up, and that's what same thing did on my other one. But the biggest thing, yeah, it had the lights and all that good stuff. Here's the brackets for the mowing deck. But you can see, here's the front drive shaft. And you can see that U-joint's just mangled up in there. And on that side, you can see how charred up that is. And let's see, where's the other piece? Oh, it's right here. Yeah. And that's why it is not running. The engine runs great. I mean, it just cranks right up, right? I just don't know what caused the U-joint failure, you know. I really don't know. I asked the guy, and he just said, well, I was just riding along, cutting some grass, and all of a sudden, thunk, and that was it. He didn't hear anything, didn't, yeah, who knows. But I have some U-joints on the way. I think this end would probably do okay. You can see where it's kind of worn. This one bothers me. Yeah, there you can see how that's worn up. And believe it or not, this is it's the U-joint flange that mounts on the engine side. They want $300 for that. $300 for that flange. And if I went and got this whole assembly, the drive shaft assembly is like $800. It's like unfucking believable. Excuse my French, but I jacked it up, and you can see up here. Of course, there's the shaft. You know, it goes to the mowing deck, which I have. We'll go take a look at that in a second. But the good thing is, the transaxle is not seized or anything, because all the way the drive home, I was thinking, you know, what could have caused it, right? And the only thing I can think of, because the engine's running great, but if the engine's running and all of a sudden, if the transaxle seized up somehow, then yeah, I can see how it can just, you know, chew up the U-joints like that. But in this case, I mean, the transaxle was rolling smoothly, so I just checked it manually. So I guess the big test is when I rebuild this drive shaft, put it on there, and then make sure that that it's going to operate, right? What else? Well, let's take a look at the mowing deck. Yeah, these things are just massive. Weighs a freaking ton, and that's what I like, that it's shaft driven. And at least the shaft drive, it will rotate this center blade, and the rest, the ends are belt driven. But it sure helps. I mean, I've gone through some really thick stuff on my previous one, and this one I was thinking, did he hit something? And that's what jarred up the U-joints, but When you look at this, I mean, it's spotless. It's not like he hit anything at all, you know. There's just no dents, no scrapes, nothing to that effect. And when I rotate the drive shaft, yeah, see, everything's operating as it should. But there she blows. I've got another one. So I'm just waiting for some parts to get here, and then I'm going to put everything together, and we'll make sure that everything's running like it should or close to it, and then we'll go through with the fine-tooth comb and see what else needs to be fixed, right? So I'll tune back in when the parts get here. All right, well, I had to butt into the video there after looking everything over and deciding what parts that I would need, you know, immediately, just from inspection. I started looking online. The parts are just super expensive, crazy expensive, right? And while I was online, I ran across another model. You know, I searched all of Texas and Oklahoma, Louisiana, and ended up finding one that I'm going to pick up for parts. Getting it dirt cheap, and well, I say dirt cheap, probably about $500, and they'll let it go. And so I'm going to go pick that up and then use it for parts, pick and choose whatever, and get one good mower out of the whole thing. So I'm off on another road trip. This time it's out in the Houston area. So, well, here I go. Well, there she blows. This is the new donor vehicle here. So this Kubota, it's the other one I have is the 2110. I believe this one is a 2100. So this is the first generation, and now I've already taken some of the parts off, and I'll show you the finished unit here. But you can see this one, it did have the plate here. He had put this little shelf up here. Apparently he was probably carrying around like a Could have been a sprayer, or he was just using it just to carry stuff around his farm, stuff like that. The big thing with this one, you can see up here all the hydraulic pumps and everything were removed. I don't know if the customer actually took that off and tried to fix it, because in this bucket are all the parts, right? Yeah, see, there's all the hydraulic pumps and all the pieces. So I don't know if, so I got this at a dealership, and it was just scrap, right? And so I got it dirt cheap. So I don't know if they had tried to fix it, or if their customer tried to fix it and gave up, dumped it off, you know, and used it to trade in for a different tractor. That's probably what happened. But when you look at all this, I wasn't worried about the rear end. You know, the transaxle, I've got a good one in there, and I have rebuilt these before. I think I still have the casing for it, but anyway, I mean, the tires are still good. The mowing deck's good. You look under here, I already took off the drive shaft that I needed. Yeah, this one's been through it, but everything else is fine. The front end's fine. More important, the engine's fine. I haven't tried to start it, but oh, and the hood. And I'll show that to you here in a second. I already took the hood off, and it's actually in one piece. But I'll show that to you. So if you ever run into anything like this, if you add up the parts, the drive shaft would have been $800. The flange to hook up to the engine would have been $300. The hood is going for what, $500? So you add all that up. Well, I just found this and was able to take all the pieces off, and I gave $500 for this whole thing. So I still have a lot of parts. I can set it aside if anything breaks on the finished product. I mean, I still have some good parts here. It's either that, or I can sell it off, you know, to somebody else looking for parts, you know, looking for a donor machine, because there's still a lot of good stuff left here. But let's take a look at the finished product here. Well, there she blows. See, the hood was all intact. I think it was an aftermarket hood, actually. Here's the old one that was cracked up, but it has all the, you know, the decals and everything on it, and while this one's just bare. So I was thinking it was a second or an well, it's probably not aftermarket, but it's probably a replacement, and then you put whatever, you know, model it is that's on there. So this whole thing's a 2110, but the donor is a 2100, like I said before. But you see all the tires were good. The mowing deck was in great shape. Yeah, this one, the engine looked much better shape. And actually a fairly new battery at 1221, so it's got some life left in it. And I took the plate off the other one. So it was the plate, the hood, and the drive shaft. Those were the three main things I've pulled off of there so far. Yeah, so that would have been what, $800 for the drive shaft, $300 for the flange, $1,100 and another $500, so about $1,600 in parts if I just would have bought them online, and ended up getting the donor for $500. So if the opportunity's there, you know, that's a good option to go with, right? And I got lucky that I ended up finding the donor actually pretty quick. I just scoured all of Texas and ran into it. I think I just got lucky, but be patient. It can be worth a lot. I mean, if you're willing to get a donor vehicle in and have to deal with the parts that are left over, you know, I might keep that, I might sell it off, and still make some money back on it, right? I'm sure there's somebody out there looking for other parts that are on there, and but we'll see. If you need any parts out there, if any of you guys need them, it was really an easy fix. And the biggest thing, yeah, see, now I can feel it up here on the front, right? At least there's some pressure on the hydraulic lines. When I checked everything out, you know, I do everything like a tune-up, right? I changed the oil. It was pretty black. I checked the front axle here, and there's the cap for it. And when I took it off, let's see, yeah, see, it's still full. There's still a lot of pressure on it. But before I took it off, and it was probably about a quart low. It only takes 2 quarts. And I started pouring it in. It almost took a whole quart to fill that back up. So if they were having steering problems, well, that was it. And I filled it up and let it sit overnight. There's no leaks, anything like that. There's the oil filter. I changed that right there. I went back here, put a new hydraulic filter on it, and topped it off. It was only about maybe half a quart or so. And that was probably because, you know, I took the filter off, put that one back on, cranked it back up. Once it circulated, then it took about a half a quart to top it off. Other things, I went through and made sure, look at all your grease points, all the zert fittings here. There's 2 or 3 points here on each side on the front axles. Down at the very middle, this is probably one that's overlooked. Where in the center of the axle where it pivots, there's a zert fitting on the front and the rear. And this one, at least, it looked like there was lube from the front, but the rear looks like it was never touched. Same thing with the mowing deck. Each spindle has a zert fitting on it. And with these, you can see the gearbox that's in there. And you need to check that. I checked it, and it was almost, let's see if we can get a good look at it there. Yeah, there's the gearbox. So I was going to check the level, and it was definitely low. And looking down in there, it looks like it had been low for quite a while, and it was all hardened up or whatever, but still turning. But I definitely put more hydraulic fluid in there. What else? Well, let's crank it up real quick. Well, I have to say I'm pretty pleased with this. It's running very good. You can see all the hydraulics is working. It's a hydraulic lift for the mowing deck up and down, and the mowing deck shaft driven. You can hear it. It sounds like it's a helicopter about to take off. You know? But everything else, the power steering, I can turn it with one finger. It's four-wheel drive. It's just a great little machine. And I have some specific property that I want to tackle with it. And the other one I had, I fixed it up, and it was perfect for that piece of property. And but somebody stole it. Yeah. But the point is, if you ever run into a problem like this, and you're needing parts, it's like all this Kubota stuff. I mean, those parts were super expensive, but I was able to find a donor. I've been in the market for a zero turn, and I was thinking, you know, I might do that with a Kubota zero turn, and do the same thing. If I need parts, I'll find a donor, and because they're good machines, right? But I guess that is it for this video. I'm starting to ramble, and once again, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and watch for my next video.